All right, welcome to another edition of It's Still Real to Me. And of course, everything Zaslow Show 2.0 brought to us by the official sponsor, title sponsor of everything Zaslow Show 2.0, including It's Still Real to Me. And that, of course, is Anna Jarin Levine, Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733 if you're involved in any kind of an accident, motorcycle, boating, slip and fall, hit and run. You're dealing with a personal injury. It wasn't your fault. Anna Jarin Levine, Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. Of course, we got a lot to get to here in the world of pro wrestling. We're coming at you here on a Sunday evening. Our pal is Joey Levin. Hello, Joey. How are you this evening?
Doing well. I'm excited for this week's episode. It feels like AEW is picking up some momentum, and I'm actually excited for the first time in a while to talk about some AEW stuff, as well as obviously WWE's on fire as always. But it seems like for the first time in a while, I'm excited to talk about both, which doesn't happen every episode anymore. It's been a little bit.
Yeah. All right. So we obviously have plenty of WWE to talk about, led by an explosive segment this past Friday, which ended SmackDown with Cody Rhodes slapping The Rock, finally getting a little bit of a receipt there, if you will. We gotta talk about tomorrow night's Gauntlet match, which is going to set up Gunther's opponent for the Intercontinental Champion at WrestleMania. Like Joey said, we got some AEW stuff to get to, so we're gonna have a lot of fun here tonight. And of course, always need to remind everybody, Bet Online continues to be your number one source for all your wagering needs. That includes pro and college hoops throughout the year with up-to-the-minute odds, stats, and trends. You can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with in-game live betting, contests, all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime from your desktop or your mobile devices. Head to BetOnline today to become part of the team. Remember to use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. So let's get to it, Joey.
We got, by the way, the tag match has odds. Do you want to try to guess what the odds
are? On BetOnline?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we do know now that it is set. Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, Rock, Roman Reigns, night one of WrestleMania, odds. All right. I'm going with Rock and Roman are the favorite, and they are, I'm going minus 200.
Close, minus 300.
Okay. And Rock and Roman are the favorite?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you make of that?
I don't really get it. I mean, I also don't. We're going to talk about all the scenarios, right, of what could possibly happen in that match. It's impossible to be. I mean, minus 300 is a pretty confident number. Of course, Vegas and betting and WWE, who knows how they're actually setting lines. But minus 300 seems pretty confident for an opening line for them. I'm not that confident in that result. I think you seem pretty confident because I think when we were talking about it last week, you seemed like Rock and Roman are winning this match.
Yeah, I think Rock and Roman are winning this match. I think we're going to have Bloodline rules. I think that just adds to everything for night two. And I also just don't believe that I don't think we're going to see The Rock get pinned after everything that's happened. And I definitely don't see Roman getting pinned the night before night two. So I think Rock and Roman are the favorites for night number one. Yeah.
Would you like to try to, there's 5 matches on BetOnline right now. Would you like to try to guess where they're at for the rest? All right.
Yes.
So you guessed minus 200 Rock and Roman. It's minus 300. So that's close. That's basically right. The night 2, Cody Roman. What do you think they have right now?
All right. Now this is what I think they have and not what it should be. All right. Okay. I think they have Cody Rhodes as the favorite. I think they have him minus 400.
Minus 700.
Yeah. I mean, I think Roman's winning. So that's why, again, that's what I think the odds are, not what I think they should be. Cody minus 700. Wow. Okay.
WWE Women's Championship. Bayley, Io.
Bayley's going to be a heavy favorite. Bayley minus 2,000.
1250. Yeah. WWE Women's World Championship. Rhea and Becky.
This is a tough one. Now, again, I think Rhea's definitely winning. The odds, though, is what I'm guessing here. I'll have Rhea, small favorite, Rhea minus 200.
Minus 400 for Rhea.
Oh,
right now,
okay.
online.
All right.
And then the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match, Drew versus Seth.
I have Drew McIntyre minus 1,000.
Minus 500. Which actually,
Okay.
I think when this opened, he was like minus 700. So that's interesting. Unless I'm wrong. Maybe because I thought when we first talked about it, when the odds first started coming out for Mania on BetOnline, Drew was like a heavy favorite. Which at minus 500 is still a big favorite. But yeah, I mean, I tell you, I just here's why I think that's interesting. Because I think we both 100% agree that Drew is winning.
Yep.
So somebody has to lose. So basically, in these scenarios that they've now set up, somebody has to lose twice.
I know it's wild that they're doing this. I know.
Yeah. Because a big part of what I've been thinking is that Seth, they don't want Seth to lose the title and lose night one, like lose both. So Cody losing night one actually makes the most sense.
I think we touched on this briefly last week. And I think, believe it or not, the most likely scenario is Cody getting pinned night one. Yeah.
Oof. Crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
It is crazy. So guys, make sure you like, you rate, you comment, you do all that fun stuff. We love when if you ask questions or you want to comment to be part of the show. That's awesome too. If you're listening on the podcast right now, that means that we've already wrapped this show, and that's totally fine. But if you're watching live, if live stream on YouTube, youtube.com/@Zaslow it gives you an opportunity to participate. So first thing, Bloodline comes out again. Bloodline comes out without Rock. Rock gets his own entrance. And by the way, it is now a brand new entrance. What did you make of Rock's entrance where he's he's standing there in the dark by himself? You got the lightning bolts in the background, and you also notice that when the Brahma Bull comes on the screen, that his eyes are red. All right.
Well, yeah, but I was going to bring up that it seems like they're escalating each week. Like I'm wondering what's going to happen next week. So like last week, he had the bull with the red eyes, and everybody noticed it. It's like, oh, this is different. Now this week he has the lightning, and the lights are off, and the music. So I'm like, wait, like next week he's gonna come in on like a helicopter or something. Like,
well, I wonder if this is it, because they have been building it up. I don't know what more they can do at this point.
Yeah, well, he's only got one more SmackDown, right? He's on the next one in Tennessee, and then that's it until Mania, as far as that's been announced.
Is it possible? Are we getting a Rock concert next week?
That's what is being rumored. That's what they're saying. Yes.
That would be good shit.
Yeah. Well,
that would be good.
Well, will it? Because I got to tell you, I know this is a fickle thing. Like wrestling fans are fickle, and it's tough to keep people happy all the time. That being said, The Rock dropped another promo on Twitter on Friday. And then he was on SmackDown again on Friday. And I got to tell you, he's real repetitive right now. He's saying the same thing like over and over.
Yeah.
Let The Rock drop some gospel on you, boy. Like he says that 10 times a promo now. And then there's, dirt sheet rumors that people in the back are thinking The Rock's like kind of repetitive right now. He's just kind of saying the same thing over and over. Like he interrupted Cody and he's like, shut your mouth, boy. Let me tell you what the stipulations are. Like, what was that? What did he need to do that? But it actually led to the best moment in the whole segment, in my opinion, which was Seth Rollins.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought the Seth stuff worked really well because he's been kind of a joke for a couple weeks now. And then he got super serious and he got in Rock's face. So I dug what happened. I liked how Seth is turning it on and off. I dug that part.
And I love that he said, he's like, shut your mouth. We don't need to hear the stipulations. You already told us the stipulations. That's why we're out here. Why are you? He basically called him out for repeating himself. And then he called him Mr. Midlife Crisis, which was awesome. That was a great line.
That was good. Yeah. Seth came up really well. And of course it ends with Cody slapping Rock. and they barely got it in time because the banner came up, the copyright banner came up before Cody smacked him. Like Rock, I don't know, did he lose track of time? Because
did you see the video that came out? There was fan video from like the opposite side, I think, of the hard cam. And you see the camera guy is going like this, like making the signal to the Rock, like, speed it up. Let's go. We're running out of time.
Yeah, because you better get the slap in, right? I mean, that's the whole show is getting the slap in.
And I think it kind of speaks a little bit to where the Rock, and again, he's probably a little rusty. It's been a long time since the Rock had to cut 10-minute promos every week. Plus now he's doing like a 10, 20-minute promo on Twitter every week. So maybe he's a little rusty. And he's like in the moment trying to like figure out what he's going to say. And he's very deliberate.
An actor.
He is, but that's different. Actors, I don't think The Rock is like scripting what's going to happen out there. I mean, there's an idea. Isn't that the whole idea of a promo? Like there's an idea of what's going to be said. And then you go out and you feel the moment and then you go with it. Like part of me is not even sure that The Rock meant to repeat the stipulations. Like it was almost like he had trouble thinking of where he was going to go, and that's where he went to get him to another spot. Like he just seemed like he seemed a little off in that segment. I don't know.
I bring up The Rock being an actor because he has a personal writer, and Rock knows how to memorize lines. So
right, but I'm saying that. But from a timing standpoint, I think the issue again, and this goes to. We talked about last week, like when we blame things on the wrestlers, we should blame it on the company. It's WWE's fault. Start the show with them. And then you don't run into this issue. If Fox is not going to let you have an overrun, which obviously they don't, start the show with it. Don't run the risk that the most important segment in the most important story of the most important WrestleMania ever could get cut off. I know you have to assume like The Rock's a pro, Cody's a pro, they'll get it done, but they didn't.
Yeah, we all know why they do that, though. I mean, there's a reason why. We all know why. Like, I'm sitting around watching the entire show, waiting and waiting and waiting for the big segments. Like, we know why they save it to the end.
Sure, but last week they started it and went 40 minutes. Maybe that's why they went to the end this week, because they went so long they had to cut people's entrances and stuff last week.
Yeah, maybe that is why.
I mean, maybe it's just a Rock thing. Again, he hasn't done this in a long time, and they're not going to cut off The Rock. So if he grabs the mic, he's just going to go until he's done. I mean, they only have him for you'd assume a finite amount of time. They're just going to let him do his thing.
I also liked how Cody tried to throw it back in Roman's face where, he said, trying to create dissension between the two of them where, are you in charge? He acknowledged you and, he's like, I thought that was good stuff.
And I also liked, because I do think there's potentially something to this. Roman laughing at Seth and telling Cody, you're just going to let him make decisions for you? You're going to let because when Seth was accepting it, I don't know if you were watching Cody. Cody looked a little like he wasn't ready to make that call. Like, obviously, I think the intention is that this was going to happen and that's the story. But it's like this tag match means nothing for Seth. It means everything for Cody. And Seth grabbed the mic and he made the decision. And Cody kind of had a look on his face like, whoa, like if we're going to do it, it's my call because this only affects me. It doesn't affect anybody else. It affects him and Roman, really.
I feel like we all know it's going to go awry at some point between Seth and Cody. The trick is how WWE decides to execute that, because you have to have Seth as a major babyface against McIntyre. Like, McIntyre, when he gets that win, has to be beating a big babyface in Seth Rollins.
You're right, but also, doesn't it feel like we're getting to this one of these points where Drew is just organically becoming a face because everybody likes what he's doing so much? Like, don't you think he's going to get cheered at WrestleMania when he wins? I think he is.
I think he's going to get cheered at WrestleMania when he wins because we all cheer the big moments, but immediately after, I mean, the Monday after Raw, he's going to the Monday. Yeah, he's going to get booed. And especially the way that you make sure that is keep CM Punk involved somehow. Doesn't have to be all the time, but every now and then you got to sprinkle in the CM Punk stuff with McIntyre because everybody is going to be on CM Punk's side.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting because I do think at some point, like you said, it's going to come to a head with Cody and Seth, but also I guess you still need Seth as a baby. It depends on, again, it's also complicated because how long is The Rock going to be a heel for is the other thing, because I still think there's stuff there for Seth and The Rock, obviously.
Well, don't we assume he's going to go away for a little bit after WrestleMania?
The internet is saying that he's fighting again this year, that they're going to have it, that he's going to fight it whenever the Saudi show is.
Yeah. I believe that, but he's not going to be on, I could see him being away for a little bit. Few months.
Yeah, he could. I don't know. I'm going to tell you, I'm not totally convinced that Roman and Rock are winning night one. I'm not, because there are
look, I'm just trying to figure out what's the most likely scenario. I think it's so hard to predict how that match is going to go down because they're all fighting, except for Rock. They're all, who I think is the least likely to get pinned. They're all fighting the next night. Like it's a wild scenario. So I mean, if we were to do what is the most likely scenario night one? What do you have?
Okay, so there's 8 possibilities. I sent you the 8 possibilities of who can win and who could pin who.
Yep.
Mine is like a tie for first. It's Cody and Seth win and Cody pins Roman, or Roman and Rock win and Roman pins Cody. Like, I think one of them's pinning the other, and that's the guy who loses is winning the next night.
Gosh, I see no scenario. Like, I think Roman is the least likely of the 4 to get pinned. Because we've already seen him pinned during this stretch in a tag team match.
Well, you just said The Rock is the least likely, so there's no chance they're losing in your mind.
I think there's no chance they're losing.
Because you said The Rock's the least likely. So
yeah,
if Roman,
I think there's no chance they're losing.
No chance.
And I think we're going to get Bloodline rules the next night. Yeah. Doesn't that which is more interesting the next night, the main event? Bloodline rules against Cody and his story, or Bloodline's banned from ringside? Bloodline rules is so much more interesting.
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, I get whatever that means. Whatever it means.
I know what no Bloodline ringside means.
Right, that's true. But does Bloodline rule? But okay, does Bloodline rules mean that anybody? Because then can't Jey Uso help Cody? Like, can't people help Cody too? Can't Seth help Cody? Like, if it's just if Bloodline rules is just like anything goes, unless Bloodline rules means.
Haven't we had a Bloodline rules match? We have had one before, right?
Well, we had tribal combat.
Oh, that's right. It was tribal combat.
Right.
All right. So, yeah, we don't know what Bloodline rules is. Maybe it means that they get to pick the stipulation.
It means maybe The Rock will bash your head in with a chair. Maybe Solo will sing the national anthem. That's what Bloodline rules means.
Yeah. I feel like that's what we're getting night 2.
Yeah. Because, I don't know if you saw this, and it wasn't really like part of any show, but Jey Uso he was doing an interview with Kathy Kelly, one of them, I don't know. Like a little sit down thing backstage, and they're like, if you had to choose between Cody and the Bloodline, who would you choose? And he was like, come on, you know the answer to that. I'm choosing Cody all day. He's like, Cody, if you need me, I've been to war with them, but it can't just be me. We need an army, because they got a lot of people. So I'll help you, but we need more people. It can't just be me, you, and Seth. We need more people. Which was, I thought that was interesting. I don't think that had anything to do with the actual storyline, but Jey. I can 100% see a scenario where Jey is involved in that main event somehow to try to help Cody.
I think the most likely scenario is Roman and Rock win and Cody gets pinned
by The Rock.
I don't know.
Now here's why.
It can't be Roman. You're right. It can't be Roman.
Okay, so here's where I think that makes a lot of sense. Well, I mean, I think any of it would make sense. They'll figure it out. But here's where I think that could make sense.
Mm-hmm.
If The Rock is going to turn on Roman and help Cody. what better way to do it than have Cody letting the Rock pin him night 1, so that the Rock is involved night 2, and Roman thinks he has the advantage, but really Cody has the advantage because the Rock is there.
That's a good point.
And then now we have Cody wins, Rock Roman set up.
I don't see Cody winning, but yeah, it's a good point. And
you're the only one, I think. I think you're the only one. You are you're the outlier right now.
I think Roman's winning, man. I do.
Okay. I mean, I think more so than last year, I would be shocked if Roman wins this year. Like last year, everyone thought it was like a foregone conclusion. Cody was winning. I didn't think so. It didn't seem that way to me. I definitely don't think it's a foregone conclusion this year that Roman's winning. I could see that. I could see Cody. I feel like Cody's winning this year. I just do. I don't know, man. I don't see a scenario where the night 2 of WrestleMania ends. They're promoting it as the biggest WrestleMania in the history of WrestleMania, the biggest show, the history of WWE, and they're gonna end the entire show with the crowd booing.
It's gonna be a fucking riot.
They're gonna end the show with the crowd booing in Philadelphia.
It's gonna be a riot. It's gonna be ugly.
That's how they're gonna end the biggest show ever. I guess in Triple H's world, maybe they will, but I don't know. I think this is one of those moments. This is one of those again, we it's all about moments. What's gonna be on the highlight reel in the next at WrestleMania 50, at WrestleMania 100? Cody beating Roman at WrestleMania 40 will be on the highlight reel forever. Roman beating Cody and retaining is just another win for Roman.
Yeah, but however they decide to do it, even if it's Roman, there's still going to be it's going to be a big way they decide to do it. I mean, The Rock is involved. It's going to be big, however it goes down. Like it'll be bigger than Solo interfering last year and helping Roman. It's going to be bigger than that. You have The Rock involved somehow.
Can't you see a scenario where it's Bloodline rules, and just like every single time, Solo's about to interfere to help Roman win, and The Rock stops him?
He stops him he stops him, or he stops him and helps Cody.
That stopping him would help Cody.
Just that it would help Cody. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way Cody's winning with actual help from someone.
Like Roman is somehow, some way in this wild, crazy match, Roman is finally hurt. Cody finally has the chance to hit him with the third crossroads and end this thing. And all of the Bloodline are on the floor on the outside, but all of a sudden Solo pops up. He's about to do what he always does and do the spike. And then The Rock grabs Solo and stops him from doing it. And then Cody opens the door for Cody to finally finish it. Like something like that.
Right.
It'd be a huge moment. Massive.
All right. I'm still on the side that Cody's losing.
This is here. We got Giovanni Reyes asked, what's the bigger story for Raw after Mania? Cody finishing his story or an uproar because Cody couldn't finish his story?
Yeah, it's the last one. It's the last one. Yeah.
Yeah, but do we care? What's more important, WrestleMania or the Raw after WrestleMania? Like, I mean, I know Raw after WrestleMania is a big deal, but it's not bigger than WrestleMania. Like, you're not booking WrestleMania for how the crowd's going to react on the Raw after WrestleMania.
No, but let me ask you something. Are you glad that Cody did not finish his story at WrestleMania 39? Like, have you enjoyed that we got another year out of it? Because I have.
Well, I enjoy where we're at now, but there was a 6-month stretch where there was no Cody finishing his... Cody had no proximity to the Bloodline for a long time after that.
Well, good. It's hard to keep it going for 12 months.
I get it.
But remember, after he didn't win last year, you had all like the wrestling insiders. You missed your moment. That was the times. Like, fuck no, it wasn't. The moment's right here.
How many times can we do this? How many times can you do the same thing? I mean, yes, you're right. You're right. Him not winning last year makes this year even bigger. But at what point is enough? Like, so you're just going to have him lose to Roman. Roman's going to keep it for another year, and then they're going to fight again next year?
Does it have to be at WrestleMania?
Well, the question, and this is what Gio is saying, if Cody doesn't beat him, who and when? Is it just going to be another?
Cody. Still be Cody.
So instead of having him beat him at the biggest show in the history of the company, you're just going to have him beat him in Saudi Arabia or something like,
or SummerSlam.
I think at this point, like, yes, Roman could win. He could lose at any show and it would still be massive. And it would be probably even more shocking if he lost at another show. You just have this moment right now. I just can't get past how big of a show this is going to be. Like,
I mean, this last month and everything they've done, if you want to believe it was a pivot, if you want to believe this was the plan the entire time, whatever it is, it's pretty wild where we are right now. That I think we could still be in store for something super wild in a few weeks, and that would be him not winning.
Yeah,
it's not his birthright. It's not his birthright to win the WWE Championship at WrestleMania.
Yes.
He doesn't have to win it.
Well, I think there's two parts to it. Yes, that's true. But I think the other question that everyone is asking, again, to Gio's question is who? If Cody is not the one who's going to beat Roman Reigns, there is nobody. There's no one in WWE. It's just never going to happen.
What if it never happens? And the other belt becomes just as big?
Well, it can't.
What if it never happens?
The other belt can never be as big as long as Roman holds this belt. It can't be.
I mean, Roman's not going to be around forever.
Sure, but Roman holding on to the belt until he retires does not help this other belt. It doesn't. Like, as great as Seth has been, like Seth is, I mean, that belt is not as, like, that belt to me right now, they're treating that belt like a glorified, like, just like a step above the Intercontinental title.
I liked the way that the show ended this week with McIntyre on Monday laying out Seth and was like, don't be stupid. You know, you need to go in healthy. Look what just happened. You're involved in this bullshit with the tag team and you need to be defending this belt. This is what needs to be on your mind. I thought that was good stuff.
Yeah, it's good. Giovanni Ray said again, he said, everyone has it all wrong. It's not about Cody's story. It's Roman's story. And he's breaking Hogan's record.
I think he could be right.
He could be right. But I think the riot is going to happen because everyone's going to say, if Cody, ugly. Because here's the other thing is just like, Cody is undoubtedly, I mean, I don't think there's a question right now. There are a lot of stars in WWE. There are a lot. They've done a great job over the last year or so. They are on fire. Their roster is loaded with stars, but they're none of them are Cody. Like, Cody's the guy. Cody is the guy, WWE's guy right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can make the case that he's even bigger than Roman at this point, in terms of popularity, crossover appeal, all that shit. I think the question people are gonna ask and go crazy about is if as hot as Cody is right now, if now's not the time, then when will Roman lose? And maybe to your point, he never does. But it can't be anybody else. And so if he loses again, and if he loses again, it's never him, right? Like, if he loses at Mania 2 years in a row, then they're just saying Cody's not beating Roman. He might win that title eventually, just not from Roman.
Let me ask you this. Whose star power has a better chance of waning after losing at WrestleMania? Cody's or Roman's? Because I think the answer is Roman.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. Well, I mean, yeah, certainly, because Cody's already a bigger star without the title. So he's becoming a bigger star, right?
So if Cody's star power won't wane with the loss, but Roman's will.
Well, but here's part of the issue with that. And part of the issue is less about the title and more about the gimmick. Like, Roman, when he was a babyface, everyone hated him. Now wrestling fans love the tribal chief character and the story they've told for the last 4 years. But he's never going to be a crossover massive star until he becomes a face again, and they have to do it the proper way. Roman has the possibility of becoming a massive, huge star. They just have to figure out how to make him into a face that people like. And I don't know when that ever happens, if it ever happens. But this current, like, no bad guy character, so to speak, is ever going to have this sort of crossover appeal that Cody has. Right? Like, Roman Reigns isn't going to go out and make a wish. He's a heel. Right. But Cody's that guy right now. And Cody, he plays the part perfectly. But yes, I guess Roman stands more to lose from that standpoint if he loses the title. But also, if The Rock turns on him, then maybe not. Maybe if he loses the title because of The Rock and now he has a program for the next year with The Rock, that could only elevate him because now he has a program with the biggest star on the planet for a year.
Let's keep it moving here. We got some other things to get to.
Yep.
I got some messages. I think my man Gio sent me a message about this. So Logan Paul kicks off SmackDown on Friday night and announces and then shows everybody that moving forward for all after WrestleMania, starting after WrestleMania, all premium live events will have the Prime logo in the center of the mat, which is something that has never, ever happened before in the history of WWE. It's a very TKO thing. It's a very UFC thing that they're now going to sell at least the center of the mat to a sponsor for premium live events. Now, how long is that? I don't know. I am sure this was met by a lot of negative reaction from the internet wrestling community. I'll be perfectly honest with you, Joey. It doesn't really bother me. I mean, why should it really bother you? I know there's the whole, the mat is sacred and that kind of deal. It really doesn't change any of the actual wrestling. It doesn't change any of the actual entertainment. I feel like if you're mad about, you're getting mad about something that doesn't matter, I guess is the way that I would put it. And if nothing else, the part that I like is, all right, you know what? It makes it more realistic. It makes it more like a real sporting event because we know UFC has the advertisements all around the mat. So if anything, I think it ends up being a good look for WWE.
I hate the UFC's Octagon. I hate it. Now, I don't have a problem with what WWE is doing because it was a natural thing. By the way, this is not a first in professional wrestling. WCW, Slim Jim. I mean, like they had shit, Halloween Havoc, Slim Jim on the mat. This is not the first time this is. Also, the whole like the mat needs to be clean. WCW's rings like had Monday Nitro in the middle of the ring. It's not the first time there's been like a decal on the mat in a big professional wrestling company. I hope it doesn't get to where the UFC is right now. The UFC's ring is gross. Like, I mean, there is just every inch of that octagon has a sponsor on it. Like it's fine to have sponsorships, but man, it is out of control. And maybe I have a different perspective on that too, because I'm not entirely sure how much of those sponsorships those fighters that are fighting in that cage actually get, which is a whole other story. I hope it doesn't get to that point, but I don't mind this, especially because, I mean, Logan, it just makes people hate Logan more, which is part of the point of this, right? Like part of the point of it being a giant Prime bottle is that Logan is becoming the most hated guy in WWE, and now his logo is on the mat on every paper.
So does it make you believe that he's hanging on to that US title for a while?
Oh yeah. I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you put him. I think it'd be weird. Like, I think we assume at this point it's Randy and probably KO, right, at Mania. I don't think you put that title on either of those guys. Not right now. So I think Logan. I mean, he's full time now. It seems like he's there. Yep. I mean, it seems like he's a full time WWE superstar. So good. I hope it doesn't get to that point where where UFC is at now. But I don't mind it. But people were pissed.
Did you see Rhea Ripley, Buddy Matthews at UFC 299 last night here in Miami?
Yeah. Did you see that Buddy Matthews was on? They showed him at UFC 299 while Collision was going on.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, because Collision was pre-taped this week.
That's funny.
Yeah,
that's funny.
And I believe they were on Collision, or maybe it was just Collision was on. But either way, it was funny. Somebody pointed that out. Did you see Dominic Mysterio get booed at his own wedding?
Yeah, and how about Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest were at the wedding. Mm-hmm. All right. And Rhea Ripley was wearing a red dress. I mean, she looked phenomenal. She is gorgeous. She's wearing a red dress. And apparently it's an old wives' tale that if you wear a red dress at a wedding, it means that you slept with the groom.
Oh, wow. That's funny.
I would like to believe that was done purposefully because that's funny.
And also everything I saw, people were saying Ray, I mean, I'm assuming Ray was there, but there was no pictures of Ray. Like no video, no pictures of Ray.
I would have to assume he was there.
Yeah, I know. Oh, by the way, this is a good question. I'm going to jump back. Gio asked, will wrestlers get sponsors on their gear like Brock? Now, if this is
I seriously doubt that.
Well, let's put it this way. If this is meant to be like a TKO UFC style thing, UFC fighters get no freedom. They can't do anything. They have to wear the Venom gear. They have to wear the Crypto.com shirt. They have to wear the Rock's shoes. They can't wear any of their own stuff. So if it's going to be like TKO and UFC, then no, they're not going to be able to have their own sponsorships.
I think it's a hard no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gauntlet match, and then we'll get to some AEW stuff here. Gauntlet match tomorrow night to determine who is going to face Gunther for the IC title. I like that we're not doing anything gimmicky like that for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. If Gunther's going to lose, it better be straight up. So that looks like that's what we're going to get. And I mean, the question has to be, right? We got two guys who are legit contenders to win this match tomorrow. It's Chad Gable or Sami Zayn, right?
Yes. Well, there's 3 heels in the match, so none of them are winning. And then Ricochet would be the other face, and he's not fighting Gunther. So yes,
it has to be Chad Gable or Sami Zayn.
Yes. And did you see the video? Did you see the video that Chad Gable put on Twitter?
No.
He put out a very well-produced video talking about why he has to win the Intercontinental title. And then Cody retweeted it and said, "Go get him, Gable." And I think Becky Lynch retweeted it, and like wrestlers are coming out like supporting Gable. So interesting.
I think it's going to be Sami Zayn.
I don't know. I think it's gonna be Gable. The Zayn thing, I don't know what they're doing. I know this whole thing is like this is his chance. He's got to figure out a way to get on Mania.
Right. And remember, that worked out really well for Seth Rollins that year. Like that was Seth Rollins' story when Cody debuted 2 years ago. Worked out really well for him.
But my thing is this. Like I know they really like. I know they want to have Sami on Mania, and I think they can figure out a way to get him on. If it's not Gable, they're really blowing an opportunity here. Like, I think there was
I think the crowd would love it if Sami Zayn beat him.
Well, I don't think Sami Zayn's beating him. I think if anyone's beating...
if it were Sami, you don't think he would beat Gunther?
No. I think if anyone is beating him, it's Gable. I don't think Sami would beat him. That doesn't mean Sami can't win this match and go to Mania and have a great Mania match or whatever, but they have an opportunity. And also, again, like, remember what I said about the Gunther thing? Like, Gunther's been so good as Intercontinental Champion. Whoever beats him, they have to be ready for the fact that it might be a disappointing Intercontinental title run. Like, it just might be, because you're following up arguably the best Intercontinental Champion ever. And I think, like, Gable, he's a workhorse enough at this point in his career where, like, you just put the title on him and let him go out, and if he wins, and just go out and have incredible matches for like every week. Be that guy, be that Intercontinental Champion. And the crowd is, if you do it right, the crowd is just as much behind Gable right now as they are Sami Zayn.
Oh yeah, either one of them. I think the crowd would be so into them winning. I just think Sami Zayn is a much bigger star than Chad Gable. I mean, Sami Zayn was in the main event of WrestleMania last year.
I know, but the year before that, he was doing the Jackass match. So, I mean...
Yeah, but you know what? That's a big deal, too. That's a high-profile spot.
I love that match. I thought that match was awesome.
It was much better than it had any right to be.
Exactly. I thought it was a great match.
Yep.
I still think Sami, and there's such a story with Gable and Gunther. Sami right now doesn't... Sami's story is, I'm struggling and I got to figure out a way to get to Mania, but there's also so much left with him and Drew that they still haven't totally, figured out. I think it's Gable. Gio said, let's see what David has. David said, all signals seem to be pointing to Chad Gable, which makes me think there will be a swerve. What do you think of Damian Priest cashing in on Gunther? I don't know.
I mean, Priest is going to do it at some point, so I don't think he's going to cash in on Gunther. I think that would be disappointing, but he's got to cash in somewhere at some time. This has to happen.
Yeah. And then he also said, which I think I mentioned this, maybe I didn't. Gable winning would feel like the pop when Zack Ryder won a few years ago. I think it'd be bigger. I think it'd be bigger, by the way. I think it might actually be bigger because of him beating Gunther. Like when Zack Ryder won, it was a ladder match, right? Didn't we talk about that recently? It was that ladder match.
Yep.
So he won, and it was still a great moment because of how long it took him. But I mean, if Gable beats Gunther, it's like, whew, what a I mean, he's like the ultimate underdog here, which would be awesome. But either guy would be fine. The crowd would be happy. I think the crowd. I'll be very interested tomorrow night too. I think the crowd, like, it'll be pretty telling tomorrow too. Like, I think the crowd in this gauntlet match, is going to be behind Gable as opposed to Sami. They'll cheer for Sami, but I think they'll be more behind Gable right now.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be fun. We assume that's the main event?
Yeah, it's got to be. How does it work? Gauntlet matches, like 2 guys start and then whoever loses, another guy comes in?
Yeah, I hate the gauntlet matches. It's a pretty repetitive formula. You know, it's you get a guy in the beginning, usually a baby face. He runs through 2 or 3 guys, and then a heel comes in toward the end and beats him and gets the cheap win. You know, I hope that's not what it ends up being. I hope it's either Gable or Sami that run through the whole thing.
Yeah, I could see Gable being first, running through everybody. Sami's last. It's Gable and Sami, and someone causes Sami to lose.
Who could it be? Who could Sami get at WrestleMania?
Continues his streak of bad luck or whatever.
Who could he get at WrestleMania?
I don't know. What if he's not on WrestleMania? Is it possible? Like, could he not be on WrestleMania?
No, I don't think that's possible, because just like Seth Rollins a couple years ago, that was the story, is who are we going to get for you at WrestleMania? They wouldn't be paying it attention if he's actually going to be left out. There is something there. Something's going to happen. All right. Before we move on to AEW here, you guys know one of our great sponsors for It's Still Real to Me every single week. Huge pro wrestling fan, co-founder and chairman of BRCW, Boca Raton Championship Wrestling. But also, most importantly, your trusted real estate broker is Matthew H. Mashler. Matthew H. Mashler, signature real estate finder. If you're looking for that dream home anywhere in South Florida, you call Matthew at 561-208-3334. That's 561-208-3334, or go to realestatefinder.com. If you're looking for a new home, he knows the area, the schools, the neighborhood, and get you the best price with the smoothest transition as possible. 561-208-3334. If you're looking to sell a property, that's right. You go to Signature Real Estate Finder, realestatefinder.com. So you're looking to sell a property. You're looking for your next dream home. Maybe you're already in the business and you're looking to take your real estate career to the next level. You can join the Signature team. The Signature Real Estate companies are South Florida's industry leaders, ranked #1 in Boca, one of the tops in the entire state, and with offices all throughout Florida, including Delray, Parkland, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Orlando, a whole lot more. The Signature team is where you want to be. So whether you're looking to buy your dream home, sell a property, you want to join the best in the business, contact Matthew H. Mashler today, 561-208-3334, realestatefinder.com. Matthew H. Mashler, your pathway to exceptional real estate experiences. All right, so let's do some AEW here. By the way, I'll quickly mention I'm on ESPN Radio tonight, 9 p.m. hosting Game Night on ESPN Radio, along with former Miami Hurricane Orlando Franklin. So we got a lot of stuff to get to tonight. Hopefully you guys will join me on ESPN Radio. That's the ESPN app, or SiriusXM Channel 80, or locally on ESPN West Palm FM 106.3. So tonight, 9 p.m., I'm hosting Game Night on ESPN Radio. Joey, was Okada's debut this past Wednesday? I'm getting the days mixed up.
Yes.
Was it this? It was this Wednesday. Okay. I mean, I saw it. I'm just trying to remember the days. Everything kind of intertwines together. Was there any part of you that knew or thought that he could actually be joining the Elite and would come out as a heel? Because I thought that was a nice little twist.
No, I didn't. I had when his music hit in that segment, I was like, oh, I see what's coming here. But I didn't think that's how I didn't know how they would debut him. It actually would have made sense for him to show up and sort of be against the Elite, because they're dicks and they've been, they're being assholes to everybody. But I love this.
Yeah, maybe it's just they're paying him so much money that like he's on their side, right?
Do you see what I saw something that was like $4.5 million? Like, that's crazy. That seems crazy. And Okada's incredible, but like if he's getting 4.5, what's he giving Ospreay? Like, and what's he about to give Sasha Banks? Like, that's crazy. I love it.
Sasha Banks this Wednesday, or is it next week?
Well, that's what the assumption is. Big Business is this Wednesday.
This Wednesday. Okay, very good.
Yeah. But I don't know if you've seen it. By the way, Okada. So the good thing about Okada too, which is why I think he's going to be great in AEW. His English is actually pretty good.
Oh, really?
He. I mean, he's not like perfect, but he could talk enough that like his segments are not awkward. Like they've been posting.
Like it's better than Nakamura, is what you're saying.
Well, Nakamura's has gotten a little bit better too, but yes, it's a little
bit better too. He does nothing but speak in Japanese now.
Well, I think, but that's the gimmick. That's the gimmick, right? But no, I think it's pretty. Like they've been doing these backstage segments with the Young Bucks and Okada, talking about like how they're going to spend their money and like,
I like it.
Talking about Eddie Kingston and Pac. Like they had a segment in the back. Like I don't know if so. Did you see what happened last night on Collision?
No.
So Eddie Kingston came out and tried to attack, the new Elite, Okada and the Bucks. And then it was Penta came out to try to save Eddie Kingston. And then we got Pac back, returning Pac.
Oh, so they're babyface?
Which is weird because on the pre-show for Revolution, they played a vignette for Pac for his return. That was incredible. Like awesome, but I thought
babyface?
It was very clear that he was going to be a heel. But I guess he's a babyface here. No, I think he's a babyface. No, he is a babyface.
He's the bastard.
Well, yeah, he's the bastard.
It's probably my favorite Justin Roberts intro in AEW. He is a bastard.
Yeah, and so there was like this clip. I don't know if it was on the show or they just posted online of the Bucks and Okada backstage, and Okada's like, "What's a bastard? What is a bastard?"
Really?
Yeah, and Matt Jackson's like, it's when a son, and actually never mind, we'll talk about that later. And Nick Jackson goes, Christian knows all about that.
That's funny. They could have just said, you don't watch Game of Thrones? That'd have been a funny reference too. That is funny though. I like that.
And then they did another one. They're like, we just won this match, so now we have a lot of, we can, we have money, we can spend it, and we can get vehicles. Okay, what kind of vehicle do you want? He goes, I'm gonna get a Kia. And they're like, a Kia? And he's like, no, I'm getting a Ferrari.
That's funny.
Very good. It's good stuff. I love it. I think it's a great gimmick. I also think it's super interesting that, they're big enough. I love that they're doing the backs. Again, I don't know if you caught this. They did Matthew and Nicholas Jackson have a major announcement, a la like the Tony Khan
I
stuff.
saw this.
And they are backstage and they're like, hello, we are Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, executive vice president. Yeah. But then their announcements were that Hangman is suspended from the Elite and that Kenny Omega is fired from the Elite. Which is
all right, so they're not suspended and fired from AEW. It's from the Elite.
From the Elite. The Elite.
Okay.
Which I thought was also very funny. I love everything about this. I thought Okada's. My concern with Okada coming in was that he wasn't going to look like as big of a star as he is. But so far, I mean, people get it. He's big time.
So Big Business also, we're going to get Sasha Banks. However they decide to debut her. Main event, Samoa Joe versus Wardlow.
I will say on the Sasha Banks thing, the internet fans are losing their minds because I don't know if you saw, she did an interview this week. She was on like a podcast or something. They asked her about WWE, and she was like, "Yeah, I'll be back there one day."
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, a week before she's supposed to debut, she was like, "Yeah, I'm going to be back in WWE one day. I have unfinished business there." And AEW fans are like, "What the fuck?" Like, you're about to debut in AEW and you're talking about how you're going to be back in WWE?
Yeah. I mean, there's part of me where it's like, all right, you should probably get that this is what business is these days. But if I'm AEW, I probably wouldn't want that.
Yeah, it was strange. It was a strange comment. But yeah, people were not happy. AEW fans are not happy.
But we also now, so we get is it a pay-per-view AEW Dynasty or is it an episode of Dynamite?
No, Dynasty is a pay-per-view. It's one of
all right, so it's a pay-per-view in April, and we're getting Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay.
Gotta love that. Ospreay's like he's like a Guy Ritchie character. He's like a Guy Ritchie character who's also the best wrestler on the planet. He's great. Like when he comes out there and he talks, he's like straight out of a Guy Ritchie movie.
Yeah.
But also he's like the most athletic freak there's ever been in a wrestling ring. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
He's so good.
Yeah.
And I was worried about what they were going to do with him. I mean, hey, Bryan Danielson is it's going to be pretty awesome.
And he's in the Don Callis family, right? Like he's a member of the Don Callis family.
I guess. Yes, but he's also a good, like, he's not a bad guy. Everybody loves him.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long that's like. He didn't come out with Don Callis on Collision. He came out by himself. He also cursed, which they had to edit it out. So I guess he's got to get used to the fact that he's now like in America.
We're very sensitive about language here. Yep.
Right. But he better not ever go to SmackDown on Fox because they'll edit out they'll black out the whole show.
We're doing it again this week where it got blacked out a couple times, and I'm not really sure why. I don't know what happened there.
Either The Rock said something or the crowd started chanting something and they had to edit it out. But I hate it. It got to get off Fox. It's terrible. But no, Ospreay's going to look like $1 million. I mean, there's nobody better to put him against than Bryan Danielson. And I'm at a point now. I don't think Bryan Danielson's in the Blackpool Combat Club anymore. If he is, it doesn't seem like it because I don't know if they've brought back the tunnels. Face tunnel.
Yeah, they look like condoms.
Bryan Danielson came out of the face tunnel.
Well, but I also noticed who came out the face tunnel was someone who's definitely a heel. Also came. Was it Swerve? Maybe.
Swerve's
maybe it was
not a
Swerve.
heel.
I'm thinking. Yeah. So that wouldn't make much sense.
Swerve,
but anyway,
the promo that Swerve cut on Dynamite, he is now a face.
Yeah.
Like he basically that was the full like I'm a good guy now promo.
Yeah. I like they brought back the tunnels. I like the tunnels.
Yeah, the tunnels are cool. But Danielson, I like that this is like basically his like the rest of his career is just I'm not gonna have any real stories. My story is that I'm the best wrestler in the world, and if you get to fight me, it's like a privilege. Like that's his story for the rest of his career, which is that's pretty cool. I mean, he's straight up said he's almost done. So it's a pretty cool like way to go out where it's just like everyone knows I'm a legend and one of the best ever. So if you fight me, it's a huge, massive match.
But it also means he's just going to lose to all these guys like Eddie Kingston, and he's going to lose to Will Ospreay.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it'll be great.
Yeah. All right. You got anything else, Joey?
Big business. You mentioned Wardlow and Samoa Joe.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way Wardlow wins this match.
Nope.
There's no shot. Maybe MJF? Could we maybe get a returning? Like,
I mean, Tony Khan likes doubling up on the big like announcements / returns.
Right. I mean, I think here's something I was thinking. What if Mercedes Moné doesn't debut? Wouldn't that be nuts?
It would be stupid.
It would be stupid.
It'd be stupid.
Right. So they've literally
advertised it.
Right. They've leaned so heavily into
that's a bait and switch. That's a legit bait and switch if she didn't debut.
They've leaned so heavily into this being a show made about her debuting. I feel like they've hot-shotted Wardlow into this title match that he clearly does. Not that he doesn't deserve it, but like, come on, like Wardlow, like it's not real. Like he's not winning this title. But both of these guys obviously have a history with MJF. Could this be a spot where MJF comes back?
Who do you think Mercedes Moné is going to debut with? Like, is she going right after Toni Storm?
They've been sort of teasing that she's going to have. I don't even remember there's. I don't know. No, I don't think so. All that she should, but they've been teasing that she's gonna wrestle with, I don't even remember. I can't even remember the girl's name, but obviously she's not a big enough deal. You know what I would like to see? She comes out and she says, "I'm going straight for Toni Storm." And Mariah May comes out, whose gimmick now is that she dresses as the old Toni Storm and comes out to Toni Storm's old music.
Yeah, I like it.
So it would be fun if Sasha Banks was like, "I'm going straight for the title," and Toni Storm's old music hits, and Toni Storm makes Mariah May fight Sasha Banks.
Yeah, I like that. That's funny.
Even though it would kind of bury Mariah May, who I think is
No,
awesome.
it doesn't. No, it doesn't bury her.
It wouldn't bury her, but it would I don't know if it would set her back. Serena Deeb. Thanks to you. Serena Deeb is who they've been sort of teasing, which would be a very AEW. That would be a very AEW move.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what. Right now, you look at the top of the AEW card. You have Swerve. You have Ospreay. You have Okada.
You have Hangman.
I think. Yeah, we have Hangman, but we don't know what's going on with Hangman because it sounds like he might be off for a while. And then I'm hoping that this Darby Allin match on Wednesday at Big Business is the start of him pushing him at like a real star. Because Jay White at the top of it, you have all these guys, you have great stuff going on. If you bring back MJF now, the company's on fire. Like I'm going to say, you're going from momentum to back to being on fire. Like you have a legit.
Well, we've gotten to a place where we haven't really talked or thought about him in a while. So like we're in a place where the timing is good to bring him back now.
Right. And you just have multiple entertaining stories again. So you still have the Hangman Swerve thing, which is looming. It's going to be looming for a long time. You have heel Okada with the Elite. What's going to happen there? You have Ospreay and Don Callis family, and now he's doing the thing with Bryan Danielson. If you bring back MJF, now it ties up a lot of loose ends, which is going after the title, trying to get his title back, but also the Embassy King, the Embassy
Mogul Embassy,
not Mogul Embassy, the Undisputed Kingdom.
Oh,
the reason that they even were a thing in the first place was MJF. So if MJF comes back now, they actually have something to do.
By the way, is Mogul Embassy still a thing? Because Brian Cage, when he came out and fought Hulk the other day, he came out with Mogul Embassy like on the Jumbotron. It's like, I didn't know that was still a thing.
I guess kind of, but they're heels and Swerve is a good guy now. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But also another match this Wednesday is Jericho and Hook versus the Gates of Agony. My brother made a pretty good point. He texted me. It's probably time for Jericho to hang it up, right? Like, is this his whole thing now? He's just like, I'm going to mentor somebody and then turn on them and have a thing with it. Like that's, it's like he does it over and over now. Like that's his whole thing.
It wasn't too long ago, man, that I thought Jericho was done. Remember, I think it was in the feud against MJF where if he loses, he retires. I thought this was like a couple years ago, and I thought this was going to be it for Jericho.
Well, it wasn't that long ago where reports were coming out that he's been inappropriate with women backstage, and I thought he was done. And then the Vince stuff happened, and that side of the Jericho stuff went away a little bit.
Yeah.
But now he's Hooks. Now he's Hooks guy. Like
until he turns on him, yeah.
Right. So this is the opposite of going the way Bryan Danielson is going out gracefully. Jericho is seemingly the opposite. It's like why does he have to keep being the mentor to these guys? It's a weird gimmick.
Good job, Joey. Well, you may fool around and do a post show on Wednesday night if Big Business warrants it. Yeah.
Assuming that we actually get this debut, and it's not the biggest bait and switch ever, yeah. I'll do a reaction.
All right. That'll be YouTube exclusive for all you guys out there.
YouTube exclusive. It'll be interesting. I think no matter what happens, I will say I think both of us. I don't know that either of us, as two co-hosts of a wrestling podcast, are as excited as most people are for her debut.
Yeah, I'm not.
I think we're both, but regardless, it's still a big deal because she's one of the biggest women's stars, and she's a top probably 5 women's wrestler in the industry, and she's going to debut at the on AEW. It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
But I think
it's a big deal.
I think but I think what we've learned with her is that everybody's now that leaves WWE is trying to follow the Cody thing, where you go and you bounce around and then it makes you a bigger star. It hasn't worked for her.
I totally agree. I do not feel she's a bigger star at all.
I don't at all. I don't. Well, she got hurt. So in fairness, she did get hurt. Yeah. That didn't help. But she was already such a big star. So going to New Japan didn't make her a bigger star. Mm-hmm. And now she's going to, and now it's a 50-50 shot with AEW if she succeeds in AEW, because their booking historically is very hot and cold. So going to AEW, it could be a bad move if they don't book it correctly, because people tend to come in hot in AEW and then fizzle out quickly.
No, Wednesday's going to be a big deal. Wednesday's a big debut.
Yeah. So yeah, we will react. We will react.
Joey, excellent job. Tell all your fans you'll talk to them in a few days. Then go ahead.
We'll talk to you guys after Big Business in Boston with 2 S's on Wednesday night.
There you go. We love wrestling, guys. Today's show brought to you in part by Bet Online. Make sure you like, you rate, you comment, you subscribe. Make sure your notifications are always on. You tell all your friends about the show. We appreciate that, of course. And we'll talk to you on the next edition of It's Still Real to Me. See ya.